Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the EACS 2025 finals. 16 teams from Europe and Africa entered into the competition, and we are down to our final two. But who will be champion? My name is Infinity, and I'll be casting tonight's best of 7 grand final, but I won't be doing it alone. It's the man, it's the myth, it's the legend. Verdict, how you doing, mate?
Oh, I'm blushing, man. I thought when we were having conversation before streams happening, it's like, hey, man, are you taking this? That sounded well prepped, bro. You came in and you crushed that. You nailed it, baby. We're here for the EACS 2025 championship. We're going to be crowning one of these teams. They're going to be entering the gauntlet, both of them. Only one's going to be left standing. And Infinity, man, I don't think in this particular moment, we could have had a better opportunity to see some of the best in all of Europe and Africa come through and, provide us with some of the greatest competition we'll see.
Yeah, it's been a crazy season, right? I mean, we've talked a lot about Africa coming in. Last night, Paradox 3-0 in the playoff matchup. Now, there's kind of an asterisk in that, right? I mean, Chocolate Tribe apparently shelved a couple of their star players for that matchup. I don't want to anger the African fans, though. I'm not taking anything away from that team. I think if there's anybody from the African region across this bracket that have proven that Africa deserves to be on the map, it is absolutely Paradox.
Absolutely, man. Huge shout out to Derek's and crew. Paradox coming through with a 3-0. You Troggies, you got to try again next time. Obviously, you've already mentioned and addressed the elephant in the room there, but and that was just at the dismay of Ace having to pull out of the competition because of future investments in their opportunity. So I hate to see that happen, but I love to see an underdog story come through and absolutely pan out perfectly. The matchup that we're going to talk about tonight, though, it's going to be Nrw International versus Animus and Infinity. If we were looking at this bracket from beginning to the end, you just couldn't have painted a better picture for both of these squads to get here. We'll take a look at the rosters from Nrw International. Zuko, Kiri, Lightly, Zeal, Sakuda, and on the bench, riding it, and certainly going to be ready for action too, Chris, Gone, and Fortnite.
Yeah, I mean, Nrw International is just a hell of a roster, right? I mean, these are, I think, easily one of the biggest surprises we've had this season of EACS. And, there'll be some kind of European experts out there be like, what do you mean surprise? This roster has been kicking it for a while now. But they've certainly, I think, taken me aback a little bit just by how good they are. I came into the season knowing a couple of names on the roster. Gon, who hasn't even stopped warming the bench the entire season, by the way. And Zuko, who played on Royalty last season. That was all I knew about this team. But NRW have absolutely kicked everybody aside on their journey to this very moment. As a matter of fact, up until their last matchup, that semi-final, they hadn't dropped a single map. Of course, they did end up dropping a map, and that was to Troglodyte Tribe. So again, the fact of the matter is NRW International only dropping one map throughout the entire competition, albeit at first glance, everyone's going to be like, oh my god, Animus are going to win this series. Verdict. I don't think that necessarily is guaranteed.
I think I'm in the same boat as you, buddy. I hope it doesn't sink too quickly now. Speaking of Animus, let's go ahead and take a look at the rosters. We'll introduce them very prominently. You already know the names. We'll read them across the screen. Narks, Keiru, Says, Shark, and Sewo. Gathilla could be riding the bench here. I haven't seen him play all season long. I think he may have had a chance in his first week, but been taking a lot of content adventures here. I've always seen him live, so I know the man's still playing the game. He's certainly not exited stage left, but this roster certainly composed of some of the best in all of EU and some of the best French talent nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, this is the key thing, right? I think for me, this roster has kind of evolved over the course of time. They've made a couple of key additions to the team that have transformed them, I think, from a roster that is all about the experience of this team to the new blood on this team, right? I think a lot of people would obviously point to Narks and Sage and Shark and say, hey, look, those guys are consistently bringing their A game to every single match that they're performing in. But I got to give a lot of love to Keiru and Sawo. I think, the former of those two players has been on this roster for a hot minute now, has been with them since Season 6 of the Snapdragon Pro Series. And even then, he proved what he was made of. I think he kind of proved that to Animus even beforehand when he was playing Unwanted back in Season 5. But the man at the bottom there, Sawo, is absolutely the player to watch. This guy has been an up-and-coming star from all the way back at the start of the year. UEC Season 1, he absolutely shocked everybody, went into Season 5 of the Snapdragon Pro Series, and continued that as well. Sawo is the man to watch, and he absolutely is going to be that here on this Animus roster. So, we've given you guys the rosters You now know who Animus and Nrw International are. Here is a look at our best of 7 map set for this grand final, folks. Combine Hardpoint, Kurahana Search and Destroy, Raid Control, Hacienda Hardpoint, Tunisia Search and Destroy, Takeoff Control, and Standoff Hardpoint. Verdict. It's a broad question, mate. Anything that jumps out to here right out the gate?
Immediately, I see that Combine Hardpoint. I know that it's got to be an Nrw International pick, but I still feel like anything can happen on it. So this is going to be a rough journey for NRW off the bat. They're going to have to find some success here, either in that raid control or in Hacienda Hardpoint. We are guaranteed 4 games at the very least. If they can manage to scrap at least one of those maps, because I'm going to go ahead and throw Combine out of the window. They're not going to take it. That's just my bold assumption. If we can find maybe an Hacienda or a raid control there for them, maybe we get to see this one extended. You know, I know we were talking about NRW being able to possibly flip Animus on their heads, but with this map spread, I'm just not sure it's capable.
You know, I'm actually going to play a bit of contrarian to here, Verdict. I'm going to go ahead and say I think if there's a chance for NRW to get into this series versus Animus, I actually think it could well be the Combine Hardpoint. As a matter of fact, Combine Hardpoint is the single best hardpoint map that NRW could have in any best of 5, any best of 7. They're 3-0 in it this season. I believe their differential is sky high on that map as well. It was the map I think they managed to clutch up and close out the series versus Troglodyte Tribe. They are a phenomenal team on Combine Hardpoint. So I do think they have a good chance, but I do think as well, the further that we go into this series, the stronger of a map set it becomes for Animus. They've proven to be a very good stand-up hardpoint team and a Tunisia Search and Destroy team. Are we playing stand-up hardpoint?
Oh, that's Search and Destroy.
For map 7. Yeah, I was going to say, Son of Search and Destroy is what I meant to say, sorry. Son of Search and Destroy team and Takeoff Search and Destroy, or Tunisia Search and Destroy, it's me. Both of those maps are very strong for Animus. And then I think particularly stand out here is that Takeoff is their best control map for this season of EACS. So I think those back 3 maps are very difficult for NRW. They need to get in early for me.
Yeah, they do. They got to start early too. I don't think they can afford to have a slow start against an Animus team. If your predictions are correct, if they're going to take this hardpoint combine that's about to start here in a moment, they've got to be locked and loaded off the bat. They can't afford to jump at the ring with the champions. You know, we'll just say it. EU's best team for many years now. I mean, the name alone stands for itself. I know a lot's changed. The names have changed. We've even got the Mercules of EU coming in through, and Sawo coming in for Animus too. They're the champions. They're the heavyweights for a reason. You can't come toe-to-toe with a champion like this and get smacked in the jaw off the rip and just back down. You've got to strike quick. You've got to put some jabs in there early on. I know we're going to have a clean match here momentarily, but I want to see this one come down to the immediate wire. I want to see a photo finish here in this opening combine. I want to see a game 5. I want to see NRW come through and actually go toe-to-toe with these guys. They've got to prove it, though. They got to make sure that they put their best foot forward early on.
Yeah, and I will say the other thing, right, for Animus coming into this best of 7 is the fact that, generally speaking, the start of every series is relatively slow. Going back to that slugger of a matchup between them and Exclusive. How many times we've seen that over the last few months and years. By the way, Exclusive slammed them in the first map of the best of 5, simply owing to the fact that Animus came out slow. If that happens again here, Nrw International could well find a quick footing in this series. But here we go, folks. It's time for the final match, of EACS 2025. NRW versus Animus. Only one will be champion.
Only one indeed. We're about to find out. Let's jump in the action, baby. Combine. Here we go. P1, a scrappy one indeed. So far, so good for the team in yellow. That's Animus. They're locking down the feed. Zeal from a distance going to be able to get some shots in. He's got a 2-piece in it for the boys. And it looks like they're going to try to make some ingress onto this objective. Right now, the line's being held pretty firmly, and it looks like a little bit of a flip trying to come through in blue to go through early. Nonetheless, no map control as of yet. Hill's finally going to be taken advantage of for the team in blue. That's going to be NRW trying to get some points for themselves.
A reminder here at the start of this matchup that there is real potential to not just garner a lot of time on P1, but also kind of immediately rotate in towards P2 and gather those back spawns. And you're starting to see already Animus looking to focus on that, looking to get some kills before they move forward in towards this hill, because that rotation is a lot more important.
Oh, 100%. You break this map down on its back, it's basically 2 to 3 money hills that could happen if you get the luck of the spawns rolled right. Right now, the luck of the spawns going in favor of yellow. Kiri trying to smash it through the front. He's going to be able to get some shots on through. The Odin backline spawns are still involved there for Animus. And Kiri's now going to have to do it all by his lonesome now as he's going to be on the insides. Narc's now trying to make a transition now as we do see a flip finally come through and blue feed. Now starting to rack up. It is going to be Kiri and crew. NRW starting strong.
NRW looking pretty good here. That was a massive break from them. And the big problem here for Animus is they're going to continue to spawn towards the backline here. Shark, the last player to do so, though. He's going to get shut down. And, yeah, I love this investment from Kiri right out the gate. You know that the pressure is going to be coming from the middle of the map. He's immediately going to put him down for one. Kiri now going to get a second as well. 2Ps with the AR. NRW cleaning house here, making sure they get all of this time.
Oh, yeah. Animus flat-footed right now. They are just absolutely taking it. You said it earlier. You get them in a quick start. NRW will prime it and take advantage of it. Let's see how much longer they can hold on to it. Last 10 seconds up for grabs. It is still blue lighting up the feed onto the objective. The rotation has been made in yellow. Animus trying to lock it down. Sewo, sweet inspect there, buddy. Backline's being held on the rock side. That's exactly where you want to be bunkered in. Here comes the hit. Say's going to be opening up with the opener. Sakuda there for the trade, but so far so good. It is going to be NRW locking it down here in P3.
This needs to be a hill for Animus. Kills need to come through here. Nrw International, what do you got for us? They're going to try and break Lighty with the native out towards the right side of the hard point here, but that's a good peek coming out from Says. And for NRW, it feels a little bit individual. Kills starting to come through now. They're knocking at the door.
Big hit, Zuko. Big kills. 2 and to be exact, but Kru holding down the front lines. He's going to be able to take the advantage, and that is going to be the last 20 seconds still up for grabs in yellow. Animus starting to run away with it here on this one. Trying to recoup all of these points, and certainly much needed as you take a look at the scoreline. 79-53, only 10 seconds left to go before we rotate over towards that P4 objective. And things are about to get a bit scrappy. We'll see as the rotations are being made. Last little scrap time going to be picked up in blue. That is absolutely NRW.
Zil now, Annihilator in hand, trying to hold on control of this hard point. Looking for patrol around the middle of the map here. Not actually finding anybody, but perhaps a little late flank coming on through. Yeah, 1 down for the count. Teammates dying towards the hard point, though, so he's going to have to wrap back around from the middle of the map here to try and actually be effective, and we'll find another one in Kru. So that little clearance through the middle of the map. Zil's doing it again. He did it towards the end of the map with Troglodyte Tribe, and now he's doing it for clearance here on P4.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time here in this one. P4 locking and loaded. Lighty on the objective, too. Now he's looking to get a bit antsy. Finds the kill through the middle of the map, too. Yeah, that's 3. Potentially, Animus just running right into his bullets at the moment. Even through the smoke, he's connecting. Forced to reload. Sakuda going to be able to get his trade. But it is going to be a massive hill hold here for the side of NRW. They're going to be able to extend their lead now with 15 seconds. The contest is starting to come through. Shark trying to play his life on the back lines. He's going to have a little bit of help there from Says, and they're going to be able to clear the objective and ease the pain.
Says will find 2 off the back of it. Animus fighting for scrap at the moment, and as we hit the second set here, it kind of does somewhat feel like Verdict. It was that P2 that was the real dagger for Animus in the first set of rotations. NRW, they broke early on, they get a full 60, and they managed to kind of puncture a little bit of a hold on towards P3 as well. So Animus, I think as we get into the second set, as the kills go in their favor, it will make sure that they're on the right side of the map this time around.
Absolutely. Got to start off on your right foot now here if you want to take down the champions in Animus. We'll see if they get crowned today or if NRW will be able to come through. Love an underdog story. We'll see how it pans out. First 30 seconds on through. We've got a little bit of recoup coming through for the boys in blue, for the boys in yellow. Animus starting to light up the feed and starting to get a bit heated up here. Game 1 has been very narrow so far as we bounce over to P2 here momentarily. Still 20 seconds left to grab, so anything can happen. We'll see how Animus in the side of NRW, who are now on the back foots of trying to get that spawn flip again. We'll see if they can smash it through the front.
Big kills from Nox. Trying to hold on. It's okay, though. The rest of the team are still pretty good here towards the next hard point. Couple of operators in the back pocket ready to go for NRW. It is a Tempest that almost immediately comes out and will get shut down. Owing to the fact that Sawo brings the Sparrow into play. Zuko now knocking at the door around the front hard point, but he gets shut down by Sawo, who is now burning through the competition. This is a big operator coming out from Sawo.
Say his name. An absolute dog. Zuko on the back line trying to wait it off. The Spirit's been expired. Here comes the hit. Zuko, able to peel him right off the heady. And now here comes the cavalry. Animus now on the back burners. Here comes Shark. Equalizer trying to shut down this push. He's going to be able to get 1 in. Kru going to be able to combine for 2 more. And that is going to be enough for the whole. Back to the square, or back to the drawing boards here for the boys over at NRW. They are struggling to get back into this objective.
Now, we talked about the fact that that was a big hard point for Animus. They needed to hold on to it, and that is exactly what they do. Big operators coming out from both Sawo and Shark there, or Stays, excuse me, in that hard point. Keeps Animus now in the lead in this game. Last 10 seconds, and the thing is for Nrw International, you technically speaking can throw a body or two at this hard point given how sticky those back spawns are. And as we touch new, NRW have a moment to breathe here. Nrw brings his Annihilator out though, and that kind of feels like a bit of a waste from him. He probably could have held on to that for at least 10 seconds more, get closer to the hard point, but now it's not in the play.
Yeah, maybe get that backlines flipped too. We know how sticky it is. Right now, Zuko, he's trying to stick to the game plan. Be on the objective here with these, equalizers, but gets caught in poor timing. Nrw capitalizing on a little bit of advantage there. Two players coming through. Spawns look like they might be locked down still in blue. And it doesn't matter. Animus going to continue with the spawn. As soon as I say that, Lighty's going to come through and clean house. And just like that, it's back to blue. We go. NRW is still very much so scrappy here in this one. You get those back lines locked in. You got the time to go with it. And here comes Zill now with an Annihilator. But he can't hit the shots. Very unfortunate. Animus now able to capitalize on the misfortunes.
Animus now looking for a Saze, finds 3. He's looking for 4 on the outside, slide out. It's a bit egregious of a chow. Now Lighty answering back with the death machine. He's still going. Lighty finally shut down. Opening the door here is now Animus in for more kills. That Saze 3-piece, they might be thanking him for it, but in the end, it is only 5 seconds worth of time that NRW are able to fight for. And now we go back towards P4. Last time around, NRW with the hold better on this hard point. Animus, though, as they find that wave of gunfights here, Verdict, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
Oh, boy, it does not look like the case, indeed. Animus starting to run away with it. Through the middle of the map, here comes the hit. Zuko, good for 1, not enough for the second. Sewo and a Sparrow, hand in hand. Better combination, you name it. I couldn't do it. Right now, he's doing God's work for this squad. He is going to get shut down. Narcs with a 2-piece there on the nade shot. Here comes a hit through the middle of the map yet again. Kiri taking shots already from the backside, but able to win the gunfight. Not able to win the heady shot, but his teammates have got his back in the break. Finally coming through for the boys in blue.
That was a big set of gunfights for Nrw International, and now they can hold Animus at bay. You know where they're going to be spawning from. Animus don't really have that much in the way of utility to send at this hard point either. There's, what, 1 operator for Narcs, and that's really about it. But Animus now 20 points or so to the good. They break into the hard point. Let's see how they play the rest of this game with a listening.
On reprend les pauses, on reprend les pauses, on essaye de faire flip, c'est bon? Je secret.
Secret, mon secret.
Secret, je vois pas, bien joué. J'avance, je concusse.
Encore un, P2, close P2.
P2, un tunnel.
On a fait flip.
Il est déjà P1.
Allez, gauche ça maintenant. Secret, mort, j'ai secret. Avancez, prenez, tapez.
Encore un window, j'ai un prêt.
Un HP, window, un HP.
Je vais prêt.
Right side.
Et what?
À droite, tu vas side. Les gars, c'est que du contest,
P4. Top.
À gauche.
Concuss, il push le P2. 2 P2.
Ils sont deux. Ils vont flipper les spawns. On a plus les spawns.
Passez à droite si vous pouvez,
C'est pas grave.
Un secret.
Cache-toi ça, cache-toi.
Et à droite.
Secret encore.
Secret dead.
Viens à droite, ça vaut,
Prends les 20 secondes. Les 20 secondes.
Def machine P1, les gars.
C'est toujours P1, les gars.
On n'a pas les spawns.
Dead Jeep.
Ça vaut.
All right, well, Animus, I'll be honest with you, mate. I'm not fluent in French, so I understood about 0 of that. But I will say it sounded pretty intense, and Animus are locked in because now they're in a pretty solid lead.
Oh, yeah, they are indeed. Only 36 needed to close out this opening map. We said the win conditions there for NRW was not to start slow. They started quick, and certainly they're starting to burn through and burn out here. Animus starting to prevail here towards the ends of this one. French or not, man, they are just coming through, and the connections are absolutely phenomenal. But it is going to be the break on the back line where we see NRW start to capitalize on some hill time. They've got those backline spawns. Can they hold on for dear life? Here comes the hit from Animus yet again. Just brute force smashing it through the side door.
Now, operators here, Animus could technically speaking finish things from the front of this hard point. And the big issue here for NRW, you are spawning towards the back of this hill. See, throw it from the middle of the map. Zuko towards the hard point, though. He explodes for 3 kills. The investment coming out from Kiri, but all of that for naught because Sawo will answer back. See, now trying to get some spray through the middle and gets it done. See, with the Annihilator for 4. And that clearance keeps NRW in this game.
Oh, baby. Just like that. Big time players, big time game. We'll see if we can get a big-time rotation. 2:05 to 232. A little bit of scrap time going to go in favor of NRW International. They're going to have to make the connection over to the opposite side of the map, and Nrw is chopping them in half. Big two-piece there for him as the rotations come through. Backline's being held by Narcs as he wins a massive gunfight on the rocks, and it's an all-out push towards the objective. 15 seconds remaining here to close it out here in game number 1. Tempest at the ready. This could be it.
Sharks surveying the middle of the map. It's dangerous waters when Sharks is about, and he will finally get cold. But is it too little, too late? Animus have done it. NRW cannot touch towards the time. Animus get it done. They hit that 250-point mark.
Oh boy, what a spicy one indeed. To be fair, that was an absolute beautiful start. Everything was great for NRW. As the game just progressed, you started to see a lot of slippage towards that P2, a lot of investment from Animus to get that P2 rotation, and their breaks on the P3 objective were just incredibly quick. P4 was a split decision. Obviously, we'll take a look at the post-action report. Narcs leading the pack with a minute 15 on the hill, 43 and 35. Your high-impact player, though, going to be Sawo. I'm sure a majority of his kills were on the objective there with a minute 55, hence that 194 impact rating. But all around, just a collective effort there from Animus to shut this one down here in game 1.
Yeah, honestly, I think the big difference there for me in that game is the fact that, you go back towards P2 at the very beginning of the game, and I would argue that is the only time throughout the entirety of that map that we saw a full 60 go NRW International's way. Outside of that, they were fighting 50-50 on pretty much every single hardpoint through the game. Animus were just playing so damn well, and you do go to the second, and then obviously the final rotation there for Animus, and Animus, I think, just got the better of the most crucial hardpoint on the entire map. They looked much better on P2, and I think the vast majority of the reason for that was because we had such great operator utilization coming out from Animus. Big moments from them. Ooh. They're able to take game number 1 away, and it does just go to show, like, one good hardpoint hold can change the entire flow of a game, especially on a map as well balanced as, and small, to be frank, as Combine.
Yeah, not many rooms for mistake on a map like that. I thought the momentum from Z hitting that 4-piece with the Annihilator was certainly going to spark a little bit of fire in the rotations, but you got perfectly coordinated operators on the flip side of things. Really not much you can do. You got the break in a pivotal time, but the exact opposite of the map, making that transition. You've got Nrw slaying out in the middle of the map. You got Shark investing equalizers too. There was just nothing you can do. Gathering up though, 1-0 up for Animus. An opportunity to strike quickly here, back to back, as we get geared up for map number 2. It's going to be Organiser Metropolis for the search or destroy. I don't want to be the guy that says I was right, but in that particular instance, I was wrong in every aspect and still managed to somewhat be a little right in that instance. But should be much longer before we jump into this next game. Infinity, so far so good. Animus locking it down. They get control back of the ropes right before things get a little too crazy. NRW still striking very, very firmly.
Yeah, for sure. Next up then on the docket, we do have Kurahana Search and Destroy. This is one we've seen a couple of times from Animus. They won 8-6 versus Exclusive, and then, of course, they won 7-3 versus Paradox. In both cases, I'll say, and this is something I kind of brought up at the top of the show, right? I think there are times in any series and in any map where Animus can kind of take their foot off the gas a little bit, right? And it allows teams in. There was certainly a lot of that in the matchup versus Exclusive. They had to go to overtime basically solely because of that. And then versus Paradox as well. Yeah, it was still a pretty dominant showing, but the rounds they let Paradox take away, I think just so much of it is down to the fact that they were kind of throwing rounds away. And I think that has to be their biggest problem here. Make sure that Animus make sure that NRW International are not taking advantage of you playing lax. That's how you win this game.
There you go, just like in the hardpoint. Can't afford them to have anything here in this one. We saw what they can do. They can run away with it. Almost ran away with map number 1. Here comes number 2, though. Metropolis. Great nade spot. Sawo just 100% in tune with what was going on. Avoids it and gets right back in position. Stuns on through. Zuko is going to be forced down in the first 30 seconds. Not a single shot fired from either team.
I'm kind of surprised that nobody from Animus is actually around long. They're playing around Sawo here, close range with the HSO. Says will get taken out of the play, so all of a sudden Sour's position becomes all the more paramount, and Keiru kind of almost has to patrol, right, between the B-bomb site, between the cut in the middle of the map, and unfortunately, in that patrol, he's got some bad COD timing, so now for NRW, yes, Sour might have picked up a frag here, but Lighty is still the playmaker. He hasn't moved. He's allowed his teammates to die.
Oh, that's tough. Keiru going to be able to capitalize there. Lighty lets the seam through. Keiru going to be able to get the trade. Keiru's done. Narc's going to be able to get the refrag. And just like that, it's down to 1Z. And a big moment to go for 2. Does not get the shot to land there on Sawo. And that's going to be the call-outs. He's going to be forced down there too as well. Stuns being thrown as well. They're on the hunt. And Z makes you pay. Narc's down in a 1v1. Oh! What a way to start this game.
Man, what a play for Z there with those final snipes. And I'll tell you what, NRW will be counting their lucky stars that Z's able to get 4 in that round, because they almost threw that one away. They had the man advantage. They took Sour. Well, I mean, they had an opportunity to take Sour down. It was just really poorly constructed on the offense, right? Especially Lighty. You had the perfect COD timing to get into the site to help NRW out. Did not do so. But regardless, it is a round for NRW. Now, Animus, exact same positions once again. You know where Sour's going to be. You take him out of the play, and now you're on the site.
Massive. Bombs down. Sakuda going to be able to find another in return there. Say's going to get dropped too. This one is starting to crumble. Oh, baby. Animus not able to find a single kill in that round. The momentum and the aura here for the boys over on the attacking squad got to be astronomical. NRW running away with this one early, 2 rounds in a row.
That's a big round for NRW, and that is a round that you attribute to the fact that NRW did just get straight back onto the site, reposition now. Sour in a very different spot, playing a little bit more reserved in this play. Still has to go off. That stun will connect. The third kill does, and it's going to be 3 for Says through the smoke. Lighty, the only one that gets through, and Sour is playing cleanup. Z now last one left alive. He's clutched once. Can he do it again?
Oh, man, certainly. 1v4 up for grabs. Shark, next victim. Or will he be the one to take him down? Slide peek. Doesn't have the timing. Shark going to be able to read it there perfectly, and that is going to be finally a round in favor of Animus. And a little of adjustments there coming through for Animus. You can see how it pays off. Get some hit markers on some players, bomb rushing through the smoke. And surely enough, it pans out perfectly for the defense. We'll see if they can do it yet again, as this one's still very much so very close and very early.
That's a big round for Animus. And it's totally changed the playbook for NRW in this round. They're playing this one much more thinly spread. Sakata's going to be the player that's got into the cut this time. He still isn't doing anything, by the way. He's still not doing anything. Says is allowed a freebie. There's surely no way that Says gets the second kill versus... See, he does!
Oh my god,
no way! How on earth does that happen?
What did we just see right there? There ain't no way. Narcs now. Shoe on the other foot. 1v2 up for grabs. I saw someone in chat say he is very consistent. Right there gets your hold.
Lost that round, but it's not over yet. Ready up.
And a third round going to be awarded to NRW as they are back at it.
Big round for NRW there. Albeit, again, it feels like they're a little bit slow on this one. It feels like sometimes they have all the players in position to actually do something, and Animus are just given an opportunities to come back into the round. Animus, so in same positions once again, pushing through the middle of the map. Says is being a little too lax, I think, on cover in the middle of the map, and Lighty will get the best of Keiru for that. Fortunate there's trade from Says, but Sour shut down. Now everybody cleared out of the B site. NRW, this site has been theirs time and time again.
Will it be another 2v3 for grab? Narcs tagged up, not bagged as of yet. Bombs down. 40 seconds to go before that explodes. Shark in a prime position to go big. Zuko causes bluff. And just like that, it's down to Narcs, and, well, down goes Narcs. 4-1. Okay, maybe I was completely wrong about this matchup. I don't know what the hell is going on here, Animus. This is your map pick, and you're getting absolutely exposed here in the first 6 rounds.
Destroy the objective.
It does just feel like Animus are playing this one, I don't necessarily think incorrectly, but they're not adapting to what NRW are bringing to the table whatsoever. The amount of times that Sour has been removed from the B site is insane. This round is much more aggressive, and Shark is right there to take a chunk out of the legs of Nrw International. Couple of kills for him, and these players are stunted all the way back to their spawn.
Oh, we know someone's going to pull a clip out. It's Z. Oh, my God. Gets the second one, too, but Sawwell there for the trade. It's all down to Zuko. We set the stage proper for you, buddy. It's a 1v2. You've got this. Bomb is down in no man's land. And he's going to have to traverse all the backside before he makes this transition back towards site. And this is just going to allow Shark and Sawo to get the perfect setup on him. I don't know how much time he's going to be allowed to make this rotation. Nonetheless, these two playing it very close and friendly-like. This thing's starting to dwindle down. A minute left to go on the clock.
Animus just don't have to give anything away. They are the ones on the defense here, right? You don't have to move as long as you play together, as long as you're playing close enough that you can make a trade happen. You are fine and dandy. I will say, though, they've given enough space here for Zuko to retrieve that bomb and get the hell out of dodge. And now this is given wins to say, Animus, hey, you got to move forward. I don't know if they're going to stop the plant, though.
I don't think so. They had no idea. There it is. Bombs planted. Nades chucked out. Perfectly tossed. Zuko not going to be able to get the intel, but he is already on the pounce. Time's being wasted here. Sawo is just doing God's work. There's nothing much you can do here. And plus, on top of that, he's just saying, I'm better. And it takes the gunfight. Insurance there along with it. Perfectly executed for Animus. That's exactly how you want to play your twos if you are in a 1v2 situation. Great execution there from Animus.
Yeah, really well played. And that is, I think, the kind of the veteranship of Animus coming through in this game. Really for the first time, it does feel like, because they are down by quite a hefty margin. The fact that they're able to win that 2 versus 1 is just by way of how long these guys have been playing together. Now they need to be aggressive on the offense. Z down long, being a nuisance. Actually, that smoke will obfuscate things. He will not be able to get a snipe through. Animus are pushing this. They want this kill.
Will they be able to collect? Zuko able to take advantage of one. Say's going to be out of the equation. Sakuda and crew now getting a little bit of help, but it doesn't matter. Sawo able to take down 2 as well with Shark. Z is down to his lonesome yet again in a 1v-something scenario. This time it's 3. Bomb's been planted to go along with it. He might be able to catch Narks if he peeks the angle properly. But the setup is just too damn good. Nark's going to be able to retreat with his life, and Z is going to go right back at it. I mean, there's certainly going to be something if he is able to catch the players off guard. Gets a hit marker. Feels damn bad, but it's Sawo down 1 shot.
Big play for Z. He's not able to clutch up this time around. And that right there, it just goes to show how paramount getting into the site is. NRW don't have a Sawo. They don't have anybody in the site getting aggressive like that. They rely on Z down long. And the fact that Z isn't able to walk away on the opening frag gives so much room to maneuver around that B site for Animus. They work it so damn well. Now I wonder if there's any adaptations here. Utility nades up the top. Yeah, Z is playing this one so damn passively. He's effectively opening things up for Animus all by himself.
Let's see if he can get involved. We know what he's good for. We know he knows how to play his life. And well, the site's been absolutely compromised, but there is a swarm on the outskirts. 2 go down instantly. The collection of bodies, if they hit the floor. Animus are down to 1. It's all up to Says.
Big kill for Says. He's been the man for Animus this game thus far. 8 frags to his name. Big issue, though, is the fact that that bomb is slap bang in the middle of the B site. So that's one less way you can play around this clutch. Good news, I suppose, is there are a lot of players that you could effectively pick off without much of a need for trade. The first one has to be the player through the window. It would be a big one for Says to take. I just don't know if he's going to be without Lighty.
Oh, almost. Almost. Not quite there, though. Not so fast, my friend. NRW eased the pressure there as we flipped. Animus took 1. NRW has taken 1 now, too, and back and forth we go. We'll see now as Animus are starting to get a bit crazy here with these pushes. This time they're going to go back for a little bit more of a default look scenario. Let's see if they can get some picks here before they make a commitment.
Well, this is significantly different for Animus. I think for the first time they were really rocked by that aggression from NRW. Finally successful in that last round. Things very, very different here. You take so long if you're Animus to do something. NRW, I just don't think they're going to move. Finally now, utility through the cut. That might be the play. Kiri isn't technically watching this. He picks up, though, finds the opening blood. There is a good trade from Narks, but that is information, and you take that trade all day long if you're NRW.
Oh, absolutely. Take down Says instantly. That is one of the biggest kills on the map. Right now, we're itching for another B push. We've got Keiru and Sawo looking to make the aggression on through. Z is just absolutely hitting these backlines perfectly. Doesn't hit the shot, though. Nonetheless, here comes the nade. It's going to force him down, and the hit's going to go along with it. Nrw wins his one. That's massive. That clears the site effectively, and now all of a sudden it's a scramble here for the boys in yellow.
I'm really surprised this was a late hit from NRW. We'll put a pin in that conversation and come back to it in just a moment here. 3 versus 3 effective in the site. There is one player that is out of the play. That's Shark, and he could be the wild card for Animus here.
Scooter goes big there for one. Evens this up, but there goes the collection. Shark able to collapse, perfectly timed. Shark going to be able to find another Nzuko. Only 2 players left standing. Z now forced to make a push. Shark going to be able to take down one. Sakuda wins another. Oh my god. Massive collection there from the HSO. And a huge round clutch there from NRW as they are on map point. Hot damn, what are we looking at?
But it's not over yet. Ready up.
That was a big play from Sakuda to come through on the wrap. Shark thought that he'd fully cleared out that mid-cut area. Wrapped straight round to the B-bomb site. Thought his job was done. He'd got that one kill. There's no real reason to check it, but that was a perfect wrap back through from Sakuda to find both of those kills and the clutch. NRW now on map point, and it's difficult to say that this has been down to Animus being like, sure, it's happened a few times, but NRW, they have worked to their bone for this victory, and if they do get the 7th round here, they've earned it. But that opening nade from the over the top from Says, that was a beautiful set nade.
Oh, that was perfectly coordinated. They knew exactly what was going on there. No trophies at the ready for Curie, and he's going to be out. Great placed, prominent pushes here from Animus now as they're making a commitment towards this A line of sight. This will be the first time that they've done anything differently here as Nrw is trying to make the long trek on through. Got one player holding the back lines and player number 2 in Sawo, and that is an absolute gunner if I've ever seen one. We'll see how it happens now as the hits coming through. Clearing out the middle of the map. They have done all deeds and checked all corners. Player number 5, Sakuda, going to be the only line of defense. Here he comes. One down. Gets away with his life. Nrw not going to be able to get the trade there. And Zuko going to be able to get involved as well. Nrw finally going to be able to secure the soul. And that's going to be a clean 2v3 now as Says does find another.
Yeah, but everyone's so split across the board here. I mean, even the players here for Animus, right? Everyone is in totally different positions. Lighty could well find Says. He really wanted to get away clean with that gunfight because now he's walking straight in the line of sight of Sawo. Not really much you can do here. Animus have retreated away to the B-bomb site. They have every bit of information they could possibly want in this scenario. And the peak as well. Lighty dead to your right. Animus not done yet in this search and destroy.
Absolutely not. Great round to compose himself. Started with that, I mean, just devastating double nade right through the middle of the map. Let's see if Kiri can adjust. Let's see if that happens yet again. Nonetheless, Animus hanging on here in this search or destroy. It is not done. 2-1-2 split there onto the objective. We got 2 on the A side effectively, and it is a bum rush on the long site. We'll see if they can collect anybody as nobody has peeked any through these angles. Starting to get a little cold and lonely over at B. First shot's on through. Zuko is going to get dropped, and that is a massive stand if I've seen one. Shark able to get involved too for the price of 1.
Kill's now coming through for Kiri. Finds another. Oh, if he could have finished that second gunfight, that would have been everything for NRW. But Lighty's right there for the trade. Back down to a 2 versus 2 we go. Minute 20 on the clock here. But again, you have information off that play. You know that there's more likely than not going to be another player over by the B site. So you have free reign to get this rock down. The problem for Sawo, what does the post plant look like? Because Says is very far removed here for the play. Sawo doesn't have any immediate help if he goes down.
Yeah, and I know he was wanting to see if Z was on that back line since he's been all game long, but Intel must have gave him some kind of information. There he is, as he does get dotted. Say's now in a position to clutch up. 1v2, 30 seconds to go. Slides on through the middle of the map, and it has gotten quiet. Z right there. He hadn't missed very much, and he isn't going to miss right there. Animus is out. We are all tied up. Bloods have been drawn both sides, coming through and piecing it up. We've got a guaranteed Game 5 Infinity.
Yeah, we do, and that was a beautiful search and destroy from Nrw International. Granted, we saw a fair amount of clutches from them, but I kind of went into it saying that, hey, a lot of what we're going to see here is probably going to be down to how solid the Animus setups are, right? I mean, are Animus going to be able to do anything in these situations? And to be fair, I think there was a fair bit of that, a fair bit of Animus maybe taking their foot off the gas a little bit. But you gotta give credit where it's due. NRW took advantage of every single situation that was put in their lap, and they earned a fair amount of those as well. A massive shout out, I think, not even just to Lighty, he finishes at 11 kills, but I think especially to Z and to Sakuta, who get so many clutches through that search and destroy. Just beautifully played. And honestly as well, you know, going back to some of those early rounds, this could have been a lot more of a damning search and destroy were it not for NRW themselves playing, I think, a few mistakes in those first few rounds.
Yeah, I mean, Animus just not able to adapt, as you mentioned it too, throughout the middle of that one. Their counter's just not there. The reads just weren't there. It just seemed like the side of NRW had done so much damn homework that, of course, we've got to be squared up as we get geared up for game number 3. Before we do that as well, we're going to take a short intermission, so nobody go anywhere. Grab your snacks, grab your drinks. We'll be right back after this short break.
Good evening, ladies and gents in chat. I have the pleasure to be joined by one of the players of Nrw International, Sakuta. Sakuta, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine. And you?
I'm doing perfectly fine myself. Thank you very much for asking. And it's indeed great to hear that you're doing fine as well. Sakuta, your team has a roster that should be well known to everybody who's familiar with the European competitive scene of Call of Duty Mobile. However, the team name, Nrw International, doesn't necessarily ring any bells. So can you tell me a bit more about the history of this team?
Yeah, sure. The history is that we are all players from Elements, and the rest we found from the word chat, like XE, Bobo, and the rest. We just found there from, the different word chat zones.
Interesting.
There's nothing behind it.
How long has the team been around? Like, how long have you been playing as a roster together?
I think 1 week before the tournament, we made the roster.
Interesting. So a very new roster. How's the chemistry going so far?
It's perfect. We all iPad. We don't need any chemistry. We just beat everyone.
All right. I like the confidence. Well, the team might be new, but the players are very experienced. So that is a great start. I want to go back to the qualifiers for EACS, though. You guys had to face Animus in round number 2 of the upper bracket. And to be fair, that matchup was a very close one, even though the score says it was a 2-0. The hardpoint game was incredibly close, where Animus somehow managed to make an insane comeback happen. In S&D, you guys actually managed to win. However, you got DQ'd because of prohibited items being used. My question is, though, to make things short, do you think you can beat Animus in a rematch?
Of course we can. We only lost because we let them win on purpose, so they can have like a little taste of winning.
All right. Well, I wonder what Animus are going to be thinking after watching this interview. But even though you let them win, was there anything you got to learn from that particular matchup against Animus that might improve your chances of winning EACS?
Yeah, there's only one thing, and it's that they are very shit at gunfights, so we could easily beat them. But we didn't just go in the point, so we didn't really care about the point.
Okay, so it was all part of your plan then, right?
Yeah, to match them again in the finals.
Okay, well, we talked about Animus. They are one of the top 3 teams from EU participating in EACS. You've already faced them. How worried are you, though, about Exclusive, who conclude the top 3 of European teams in EACS alongside your team?
It's pretty easy. Exclusive is just a more worse team than Animus, so we beat them too.
All right, I like the confidence. We'll see if you can, bring what you're saying to the playing field as well. But if you had to guess, how high are your chances, or rather, what are the odds of NRW to win EACS?
If we're playing a tournament, there is no odd. We win it. There is no percent. 100% we win.
Okay.
We enter it and we take top place.
You are determined. I love to hear that, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you guys play. But what is, or rather, who is, in your opinion, one player from your team from your roster that we should definitely be keeping an eye on?
Of course, it's me, Sakuta, as always.
Welcome back, everybody, here to EACS 2025. We're 2 maps deep into our best of 7 grand finals. 1-1 between Animus and NRW. Shout out to Uncle Blood for those interviews, by the way. I don't know why we call him Uncle Blood. Like, why is he not Brother Blood or even Sister Blood? I don't really know. But he's a member of the family. That's all we know. He has wonderful interviews, so shout out to that guy. But yeah. EACS 1-1 now in this series, and that Search and Destroy, I think, was probably a bit of a shock to the system because Animus, they took a beating there.
Yeah, they did. I mean, that was, one map trade after another. We obviously talked about the influence of, a combine hardpoint. Animus came through and snagged that one, and the second map, Pip, obviously going in favor of Animus, but it went in favor the exact opposite. NRW coming through and striking and literally throwing us a curveball. We love to see it happen, though, and that just proves that I don't know anything about COD Mobile anymore. Chad, go ahead and flame me there. Let me know, because I have no idea what's going on. I'm ready to crown a champion. I know that for sure, but I have no idea who it's going to be just yet.
I don't know either. I don't know if we can bring up the map set for everybody at home. Maybe that's just too much of an ask. I'm sure we'll maybe bring it up here in just a second if we can. I'll have to probably message Prod to let them know that we want that. Oh, no, I don't have to do that. I will say I can't hear Prod if he's speaking to us right now. So, with that said, best of 7 map set, here it is right now. Now, we can't give you updates on what the map set actually looks like, but we can say that map number 1 was a 250-209 victory to Animus, and then map number 2 was a 7-3 victory to NRW. So we are 1-1 in this series. Next up then is a raid control. We have only seen this, I believe, I want to say like once from either of these two teams, and I think that was from Nrw International. They're currently 1-0 on this map set, and that was down to a round 5 control versus Cantic. I remember that one. It was super close, basically up until the round 5, and Cantic dominated them in said round number 5. So it was close up until that moment. I also remember NRW having this really weird clutch factor. It was like an 11v17 or something ridiculous like that. These guys are insane, and I would never count Nrw International out. So they could well take the lead in this series. I mentioned it briefly to you before we got into the day. I think it was last season where Queens took the grand finals of UCE Season 1 away from exclusive in a result that I don't think anybody expected. It could well happen again. Let's jump in then to the control to see how this goes.
Over to the lovely hills of Hollywood, California, across the pond here for the boys in EU. Let's see if they can hold down the lines here for the defense. It's going to be for the first round in favor of NRW. They're going to be able to count their kills there on that one. That's going to be a complete wipe. And a brute force push over towards that ring side. Not going to be faring well so far. Now over towards the A point we go, and that is a complete light wipe on that line. So they've got 3 on it. They might be able to capture this one real quick. Spawn's going to be for the side of NRW, right up top side of the staircase, but they can't get down with Sawo there. And boy, he is just running and gunning.
All right, kills off the start here for Animus. Z's going to be the player through the money window with the sniper rifle, trying to get some shots. That was an audacious attempt from Z, but he will get shut down by Sour here. And I think just generally speaking for Animus, right, making sure they're trying to get A off the rip. This is a big one to take down. I don't know if they're going to be stopped. One more player up top is Lighty, who does somehow walk away with a double, and that might keep NRW in the play.
It might indeed. A's going to be capped through. Minute added to the clock says, not missing, baby. Hello. Ringside shot, or not ringside, courtside. Man, I felt like it was courtside. Good God, I felt like it was in his pockets right there. Holy hell. Not missing a bullet. Animus quickly striking on towards the B-side ring. Looking a little bit compromised as we go for a ring around the rosy. Kiri finally going to be able to shut him down as he's chased his tail. Animus trying to get involved. Whoa, my God, Lighty, what are you doing, pal? With the USS-9, that felt illegal.
Lighty doing well there. Brilliant kills coming through from him, but there are follow-up kills now from Animus. It keeps things relatively close here. There's also only 1 player on the point, so Animus now could theoretically stack this point, and nobody from NRW could stop them.
1 person. Sakuta in the middle of the map. Trying to get the shots he does. Good defense right there for the time being. A minute and 30 to go on the clock. Not probably going to be a factor, as 9-7 is the life count. We'll see this one dwindle through as the Predator comes through. Lighty, lighten up your Spawn to go along with it. The Death Machine, best operator in Call of Duty Mobile for a reason. He is going to get cut down, though. 8-4. He's done his work.
Animus, yeah, down to the final 3 lives here. Now just down to the final two, Nrw and Nrw. Nrw not going to expect Sakata out towards the window, and Nrw now last one left alive. He goes to check for Sakata, and Sakata's pulled the magic trick. He has disappeared. Nrw going to go for the pre-fire for what would have been the final kill for him, but he just cannot find anybody right now. Nobody from NRW wants to even give him a look. And I tell you what, to be fair, he might be afforded an opportunity. Nope, that nade lands right on top of him. That's going to make him slightly weak here for the next gunfight in a 1 versus 1. It's extended versus Lighty. Nrw can't get it done. Still looking for the kill. How long is this gunfight going to go on for? Nrw on towards the point, still keeping this play alive. Finds the first. It's on towards the second against Lighty. Now the rest of NRW will swarm, and now he finally gets shut down. Animus out of the round.
There we go. Nrw standing strong here on the defensive side here in the lovely hills of California. Hollywood Hills, that is. And Raid, one of my favorite control maps of this Call of Duty mobile map pools. Obviously, it's classic. Right now, they're playing it very classically. Nades being thrown out in the middle of the map. Sounds like it's all out chaos and war. 3 light up the feed there for Animus, and they are striking and putting their foot down quickly here on their defensive tower.
War Machine off the start of this round coming out from Says. It's a good effort to try and garner some kind of map control. Animus, 1 kill to the good in this round. Kills starting to come through. That was a big couple of kills coming through from Says to try and clear out some pressure over by open stairs. Says is all by his lonesome here, though, and he knows it. He's trying to force the issue from the middle of the map, but if he gets shut down now, that is a pain in the backside here for NRW they needed to get rid of.
Absolutely. Can't have them lurking in your spawn. Nrw now trying to get out of the spawn themselves. Not able to do so with Sawo, who is going to be crossing your path. Okay, we're going to be able to get there for the trade as Sawo does drop. And nonetheless, player number 5, Shark, trying to piece on through inside of your spawn yet again. As he does wrap the rear, able to find one. Sawo going to get dropped there from the Annihilator. And operators being popped both fronts. Or make it just Nrw as they are trying to get a little bit of control here on towards this ring site and settle things down a bit. They are going to be able to find some kills there along with it. So things not looking great off the rip, but Z starting to reel it back in for the boys. And that is going to offer tremendous map control as well as some streaks to go along with it.
Well, NRW will be able to capture that B zone. Now they get an extra 60 seconds on the board to rotate away towards the A zone. And now that Predator missile coming down from high, that doesn't just give them the kill, it also gives them information as to where the opposition are. And they're going to work around that. They know that Saze is up top in bedroom, and I've talked at length about how important winning that gunfight is, but Saze is being a nuisance. Kiri now, potentially on the flank to try and do something. No, he gets shut down, but at the very least now they deal with Saze, so their spawns will be ever so slightly closer towards that A zone.
Oh, it will be, but indeed, it is Nrw offered a line of defense there with the Annihilator. Able to find one, though, misses the next 2. You got to clear him out before you make this path, and I believe NRW realize it, and they've called an audible. Last 5 standing. They're counting their kills indeed. Z going to be able to piece one in the middle of the map. The approach now going to be coming through the backside of Laundry. Is Nrw's Annihilator going to be expiring for the time? Banking on a shot here to hit from Z, and it's not happening.
All right, last 2 kills now for NRW to be taken out of the round. Animus have all bits of utility ready to go if they do have to pull something out, but I can't imagine you would at this point. Kiri will at the very least get one. Switches towards the second. No way. Kiri finds that kill. And the last couple of players have not been immediate here, so Kiri's going to be able to get the reset. Says now with the wrap. Kiri is not ready for it, though. Doesn't even connect a single bullet. And that will be around here for Animus as they do tie things up. I mentioned it very briefly there. Look at the start of this round and the utility that Animus have got on side. If they so desired, they could really invest early into this round and totally blow NRW out the water.
We'll see if that's the plan. We'll see if it pans out. Here it goes. You just predicted it. My man's is a future teller. Sparrow on the opposite end is going to be shut down, though. No kills to be the life of it. It's going to be Saze trying to reel it back through. There it is. As we get geared up for a listen in with the boys over at NRW. Let's see if they can hold off this push.
I'm going.
Equalize that. Nice, extra, nice. One more. Temp is dead. Bottom, Logi. Under you. Going secrets, XA. Nah, du bist dead. Luko, secret.
He's dead.
Nice. Okay, play kills.
Oh, what?
Play kills. Laundry. 2, 3 on B. Laundry dead. On B, Zuko, on B. On B, they still on B,
Yes,
still
on B, on B, erst on B. Erst Pillars.
Roter Lambo, roter Lambo.
Ist gut. Top
Jetzt on
bedroom.
B1.
200.
One more dead on B, one more dead on B.
On A, auf A,
One dead,
auf
one dead,
A, erst auf A, Jungs.
Auf A. Linke Ecke vom Basket. Nice.
They will play slow, they have time.
Bro.
Vielleicht rotieren die wieder von hinten.
Auf A
Die
tot.
letzte Runde.
Mr. Set. Ich geb Calls,
Ich kann durchpushen.
Free bedroom. Top bedroom.
Ja,
Top
ich
bedroom
muss
dead,
was machen.
dead. Bottom bedroom dead. No, one more, so cool.
Noch einer. Tot.
Nice,
Weg, Jungs.
Nice cam. Don't use operators.
Despawn.
Zigzag dead, one more zigzag. Two, all zigzag. One bot, red and zigzag. One red and zigzag.
Mit Zigzag.
Don't use operators, those scores. Nice.
Zigzag.
Oh, one mid. Go out spawn, laundry.
Okay.
Dead.
Last one B. Charge operator if you want. Okay, never mind.
Ich hab einen Operator.
Okay, ich hab meinen nicht, aber egal.
Listening with Nrw International, and you can see, honestly, I'm kind of surprised at how calm the comms were there, Verdict. Everything cool, calm, and collected across the board.
Yeah, cool as a pineapple. Or what's the saying there? Cool as a melon? I don't know. I'm just talking out of my butt right now.
I don't think I've ever heard that one.
I don't think I've ever heard that one either. I'm just trying to pull it out. Nonetheless, just like that, it was a smash start for Animus. And like you said, it was cool, calm, and collective on the opposite side. And NRW stands strong on the defensive approach. It was great plays from the Predator missile. Obviously didn't hit, but nonetheless gave every bit of information. And here we are in the predecessing round. Animus doing the exact same thing. It's just been dominance on the defensive side so far. Who's got the better of the offense, though, is the question.
Yeah, it does feel like the one thing that's been missing from these two teams at this point in time is great operators on offense, I think, in particular, right? We've seen great operators on the defense try and hold on to things like we just saw there from NRW as Kyrie just rips a few players up. We saw great operators on the defense. On the offense, that simply hasn't been there so far. And now maybe we're starting to see that. Curie lighting up here with the War Machine. 5 more pellets in the magazine, whatever the equivalent of a magazine is for a War Machine. Finding more value over by A. And he is drawing so much attention. He is doing more than that. He is finding frags. B has fallen by the wayside. He is opening the door. He's slamming it open. But Says answers back with 2 of his own. 3 of his own. Oh. That is the answer that Animus needed. If Kiri is an absolute bomb, well, Says is a nuclear bomb here in this game.
Oh, they might be able to pull it off just with kills, though. I mean, that was a great stand there for Animus. But is it going to be enough? Sawo pulling out the Sparrow. Able to find 1, make it 2. Zuko able to find 2 of his own, and it's down to the last 5. Lighty piecing him up. Trying to get to the back lines of the spawns, allowing a little bit of a floodgate through. He's going to be able to get shots onto Sawo. And here comes the hit onto the backside of the kitchen. Z is going to be able to read it. This tag team duo absolutely slamming them for the time being.
Lighty now on the hunt for more kills here. Big one to try and take down. Nobody on the flank in this play. Lighty's going to be the one to remove Sour from the play. Not sure about that investment, but you know what? It doesn't matter when you close out the map. 3-1 victory for NRW. We were talking about it. We were like, hey, we haven't seen much great operators on the offense for either of these two teams. NRW absolutely shut us out there with the final moments of that game. They take the lead in the series.
All right, somebody call an ambulance, but not for NRW. Holy hell, what are we watching here? Animus getting pieced back to back here. The search and destroy and that control. It wasn't even close in that last round either. Like 12 players left standing, just perfectly executed as we take a look at it. Animus absolutely down bad for the time being.
Sour.
You know, because somebody jumped out of the lobby. You know it's bad when that happens. 35-20 for Lighty as he lit up the feed towards the end. Zuko, as I mentioned, coming through too with a massive 2-piece. C has been him all day long from beginning to end. 24 and 21 on the right-hand side of your screen. Says the only one in a positive position there that we could see. I don't know what Sawo did, but it must not have been very good.
Yeah, Sawo, Look at me right now. Look, I know you can't see me right now, but just imagine stare right at the dead center of your monitor and imagine that's me. Don't do that. Don't leave the game. Okay, we'll put you on the naughty step. Don't do it again. But anyway, it has to have been pretty bad as Sour does leave the game. And Animus, I think, are pretty disappointed with themselves in that one. And I would be as well. Again, I expected a little bit more route taking from Animus, something we didn't really see there. I think a lot of the times that they were trying to get in towards either of the control zones, they were doing it by brute force instead of maybe being a little bit more creative and sending players on flanks. It really wasn't, I would say, that deep in terms of an offensive playbook. For Animus, and to be fair, I'm not going to gas NRW up. It wasn't like that was the case for them either. It was only really that final round where NRW sent something a little bit different Animus's way, and they just looked like the better control team. So all in all then, 2-1 now for NRW in this series. Next up on the docket is a Hacienda hardpoint. We know this to be the great equalizer. This is always going to be one of the maps that is always close in these games. Animus are going to be feeling pretty confident on this one. They have a 2-1 record on Hacienda hardpoint. And so I think, that just goes to show this is an opportunity for them to bounce back in this series because they kind of need to at the moment. They're slipping somewhat.
Oh, Chet finally corrected me and said cool as a cucumber. That makes sense, dude. I don't know. I was just naming fruits that I have in my fruit. I don't know, man. I was literally just naming fruits I had in my kitchen. I was probably a little hungry. So don't fry me just yet, Chet. But we gotta agree. If you're Animus, you just pointed out Salah, they've got to be pissed. I mean, Salah leaving the lobby is, possibly, the nail in the coffin, but we're getting geared up for it. But I mean, to hear those comms, dude, it's like they were just hey, it was one right there in laundry, going backside laundry, and then you heard the passion from the comms of the players over at Animus, all French, like we couldn't understand it, but you felt it when you went in. There was a lot of tension, there's a lot of pressure, like to perform. But I mean, they got to perform now. You said it, it's a swing map. It's going to be the deciding factor of what Animus is about to do here. Hacienda. Will you be tied up before we go to this next map indeed, or will it be another one going in favor? Right now, they're getting slammed.
I will say, going back to those call-outs, right, listening to the listening, it kind of feels a little bit like, we didn't really have much small talk from NRW, right? Like, they were not calling out where they're going. They weren't, like, trying to play around social. That's like, hey, there's a guy here. And that's really all the cause. There wasn't even really much hype in the call-outs for NRW. So, hey, maybe an insight as to where an area that Europe could maybe improve. One of the best teams in Europe is calling out like that. But that's, again, a discussion we'll put a pin in and come back to later on during this series. For now, it is going to be a Hacienda hardpoint here between NRW and Animus. An opportunity for NRW to extend their series lead even further. I mentioned it at the start of the show here, Verdict. I feel like NRW needed to come out the gate swinging in this series because the back half of it does feel like it favors Animus. They've done exactly that thus far.
Yeah, they have indeed. They got to pace themselves and, as well, too. And how chaotic is as casters. We banter all the time, and we want to hear the bantering from the players over, that are playing. Obviously, we're all pro for that. Right now, we're all pro for this series going much further into the distance. We need to see Animus strike quickly here, as they have done so onto this objective. So far, so good. Brick's going to come through for the side of NRW. Lottie up top trying to let it to feed. Surely does. Now it's a pace over towards that P2 objective. Narcs is the only player here, but a gracious spawn there for player number 5 in Shark, but he is going to get obliterated. Just like that, it's going to be NRW lining up the feed, lining up this hill.
And now look over towards the rotation. It is going to be NRW in here for the moment. One player around the backline here. Big shutdown by Says. And that one frag is enough to manipulate the spawns. In through the side door comes Sao. And that will momentarily unseat NRW. Now towards the hard point here. Says in looking for the kills. It's Narcs, it's Sowo, it's Says. Everybody contributing, but they haven't quite dealt with the threat just yet.
Oh, smashed it through the front. Lighty, gonna be able to get one from afar. Says, hey, there we go. EOD damage brought to you by the War Machine. Not gonna be able to find one. He had absolutely dead to rights, but nonetheless, the squad's gonna pick up the slack. And that is going to be Animus yet again there. Sakuda through the water. Going to be able to find one, but Keiru eliminates him. And just like that, Animus completely in control here in P2.
And more kills starting to come through here from Animus. See now the last one left alive for this scrap time is only going to produce one. There is going to be a bit of a late hit potentially coming through the backside as a couple of players do spawn out, looking towards said rotation. NRW now effectively in a 2 versus 2 on Roto. Sakata and I believe that's Kiri over here. Both of those players shut down. Unfortunately for Kiri, he gets shut down by way of the Hunter-Killer drone. Investment now starting to come out from both sides. Shark will only find one with the equalizers. Now towards the hard point. This is the kill where vying for control is important, and all of NRW's amount to very little. Zuko gets a posthumous kill with a Sparrow, but again, Animus are still pretty close to the hard point.
They are indeed. They're getting the spawns rallied up. They're going to get wrapped there on the backside as now the things are starting to get a bit split. Animus going to be able to smash on through. Lighty going to be able to get some wall bang damage potentially. No, he's going to be able to operate the hill, but he's not going to be able to find any kills. Nonetheless, the Sparrow not going to be able to find any kills with it, and that is going to be Animus. Locked and loaded here on this objective. Fences has been their home yet again. As P2 shut down, they have just continued to run rampant here on this objective as well. But the body's still being thrown at it. Zuko, last 12 seconds up for grabs. They say they want it.
It's definitely worth getting. This hill anytime you can get is like gold dust, and NRW will be fighting for that time. Now starting to look a little bit more at the rotation. Keiru trying to play a little bit of an advanced guard for Animus. It's going to get shut out of the play. Now towards the hard point. Kiri actually going to open the door with the first gunfight, and that's going to give them a look at this hard point. The problem is now you have to get in from a couple of angles, and Nox is here. Seal the Annihilator trying to make a play.
Z's got to go big. Smoke's going to be called on through. Say's now on the outskirts looking for anybody in the water. Going to get some hit markers nonetheless, and Ops to pop the op very quickly. Pays off. Say's going to be able to shut him down. 14 kills on board for him. Lighty, just piecing whatever you can do. Trying to nickel and dime these kills onto the objective, but he's going to get called out too. Animus, again, locked and loaded. Curie, jump up, contest, shut down. Zuko, the last hope here. He's going to be able to find one. The slide's not going to pan out, and Art's going to be able to shut him down.
Yeah, this was a little bit individual from NRW finally. They do manage to get through, owing to the fact that a couple of players slipped the net. Big double coming through from Sakata. He will finally get shut down now. Shark looking for the last remaining player. One player coming in for backup from the middle of the map. Shark surely doesn't get the turn, or no, he doesn't. Z will get shut down. That is a big hard point for Animus, and if I'm perfectly honest, I think a lot of it was because of how one-dimensional the entire attack pattern there was for NRW on the whole. These guys, I mean, they did it once, I think, at the start of the hard point. They had like a 2-2 split with a couple of players through the harbor side and a couple of players through the middle of the map. Outside of that, that was super flat for NRW, and they paid for it. Animus, something you rarely see here on Hacienda hardpoint. They have a strong advantage going into the second set.
Oh, they do indeed, and I think the first time that these two matched up against each other on this particular map, it ended 250 to 248. I'm not sure that this one's going to be that close. I'm begging for it. But nonetheless, Animus just playing too damn powerful right now. They have claimed the top of this objective. Last 30 seconds, finally Z and crew trying to clear out the objective themselves are going to be able to do so and get a little bit of breathing room as we get geared up for this P2 rotation. Everything not looking bright here for NRW, but let's go ahead and jump on into the comm checks with them to see how they're doing.
Ich hab Tempest. Dead. Noch einer, Equalizer in der Ecke.
Bruder, der hat uns geflankt. Ey, das ist white. Einer Drive, einer white.
White. Push.
Einer Statue.
Equalizer on point, immer noch. Bruder, wie lange hast du?
Nice, Equalizer dead. Ich komme so.
Lambo dead. One more.
Sparrow side.
Geht über die andere Seite, wenn er Sparrow hat. Ich smoke.
Drive, let's go, drive. Tempest
Tempest.
Go from driveway.
Exit, go point.
On side.
White dead.
Noch ein 2 und
Side dead. All dead. All dead.
Nice.
Nice, X-Ray, nice. Spawn shot, dead.
Nice.
We can come back.
White.
Go, one shot. 3.
Hold. Go next. Haltet ihr Ult, ich geh next.
Ich geh next.
Oder
Push.
top.
Nice.
Nice, T1, nice.
Wir haben Top.
Nice.
Zwei Top. Einer Top.
Tin. Oh mein Gott.
Even through the face of adversity, it just seems like everything is cool, calm, and collected. Nothing has bothered this team, really. And, you know, just to prompt on the calls that you made earlier, this NRW roster just very short with it, and it's paid off up until this point. A little bit of more emotion than we heard in the last call, but nonetheless, still the same result.
Yeah, it does just feel like maybe they could be a little bit more, I guess, covered with these calls, right? You know, the coverage is just not 100% there, and it is hurting them. I think at this point in time, what isn't going to hurt them is Zuko flying in towards the hardpoint, finding 3. Investment coming up from Q here for the back 25 seconds. You don't want to find yourselves in too deep of a hole, and that's why you're starting to see that coming out to play. Everything through the fences side, apart from Lighty, he was out of position. He is going to get shut down, so now it has to be through the players through the front. Zuko out of the play. Now next up is Kiri. What can they do? It's a full blue kill feed. Sawo, though, despite the fact that he's isolated, is holding on towards his time. One more player, and Sawo will swiftly remove them. It is still Animus in control of this game, but that was a lot of time for NRW. They're starting to close the deficit.
Here comes the interactions there for Zuko now as we transition on into Roxas. This was not a great hill here for NRW last time around. They're going to have the opener advantage. They got to take down Keiru, who's been on a route. Sawo stays. Everybody dropping. Kiri going to be out. Keiru, the threat, now going to be eliminated too. This is a good hold for the first 20 seconds. How much longer can they do?
What a read. Kiri caught out on the flank there. That would have been nice for NRW to have. Now toward the hard point, Zuko needs to go massive. Wasn't quite expecting a threat to be that close to him, and he will suffer for it. Now Narcs investing the Tempest. This acts as both zone clearance and getting kills. Looking for it, will find Lighty, and now nobody can go near that body, but his job is far from done. Fortunately, the cavalry has arrived. The rest of Animus are here.
Oh, that is very much so to fear there for the boys over at NRW. Not going to be able to get their claim back onto this objective. A break firm. Going to be standing strong as we get geared up for a third set of rotations. Will it be a charm for NRW? Sakuda and crew looking to get top clearance now as Hill's going to be popping here at any moment. 189 to 133. Things starting to come a little bit better into light there for NRW, but they're going to be a lot better here on this open initial hardpoint.
Yeah, Giant do not want to give a lot of time away to Animus here. Kerry is going to get the Annihilator. I'm not sure you necessarily need it when Sao is playing like that. 3 kills. They go in one by one and they fall one by one. NRW, though, fight right back. Sakata from down low will find 3. And that's going to be a chunk of time here that NRW will want, but almost immediately Keiru, who had this Annihilator out for a long period of time, by the way, will get some kills with it. Keiru continuing as well. He will find his 4th. And now NRW have to fight back into this time. You can't give this away.
Oh, you can't. That leader's advantage is continuing to grow. They're down by a full 60. Only 18 left to grab here after Animus has had their way. NRW in the pits. They are absolutely just getting desperate at this particular point. Z trying to reel it back in there as he does put the contest in. Narcs and crew, they've already got P2 locked down. This could be the beginning of the end.
Hardpoint lost. Capture the objective.
NRW now looking to try and get control of this hard point. You've got players on both sides. Animus are very much preoccupied with the players towards the back line of the hard point here. NRW, they have to fight this one from the front, but those players towards the back have not been dealt with. They could well still take this hard point.
Lighty. Did you go big kill there on the outskirts? Now he's got to clear out White. Oh, Narc's going to be able to escape with his life for just a second. Lighty turning and gunning. Keiru, blast him. Sakuda, last hope, is going to be able to find 1, make it 2. Sawo from the backside, going to be able to reel it back in, but the spawn's favoring it in blue. Can NRW reel it back in?
NRW is still fighting for this from the back. The smoke provides the coverage to get in towards the hard point. Sawo on the hunt for the kills. Will get shut down. Saves with the double from the other side here. Still up in the play. That war machine is still active. It finally will deplete. Animus can no longer finish things on this hard point, but those wave of kills, you still don't want to give this time away. If you're NRW, you kind of have a split situation here. Do you go for this? And even if you do, you get shut out, and that last little investment will cost them a rotation as well.
It is fences where this will end. Only 5 seconds needed. Animus crossing all T's, dotting all I's, locking it in here for game number 4. And we're going to be all tied up here. It's 2 seconds left. That's it. 250 to 154. A very dominant hard point in return for Animus NRW. Just falling shy of making anything happen in that third set. I don't think they had what was that, from P1 all the way to that point? What did they have? Just a handful of points. That was disgusting.
Yeah, not that great. I think it was like a break towards the back half of P1 there on that final set for Nrw International, and that's all I could realistically give them. Outside of that, that was pretty much all Animus, and I think there was 110% an element of panic there towards the final moments of that game, where you could really see Nrw doing something they don't normally do. They were playing significantly more individual. They were hitting the hard point one by one, and I think even earlier on in that hard point, I will say, we mentioned that when we talked about that Animus lockdown of P4, right, where Animus fully locked down P4 hard point, and the reason they were able to do that so well was because Nrw were throwing themselves at Animus in such a wayward fashion that they were never gonna break in. Big shout out to Keiru in this game. You know, we've got to give a lot of love to this guy. Of course, he's been a rising star over the last couple of seasons of the Snapdragon Pro Series, back in Season 5 on Wanted, and then, of course, on Season 6 with Animus. He is a worthy pickup for this roster, and he showed it in that game.
Oh man, that last P2 was just heartbreaking. Everyone's running at the objective, and Keiru is just, I mean, not missing a freaking shot. But nonetheless, that leads us up to game number 4. We got a guaranteed game 6 brought to you by that matchup, but plenty of action still left to be seen here, Infinity. We're going in tied up before we get to our next match. We're going to take a short intermission, ladies and gentlemen. You can't go anywhere. You got to find out who's going to come back on top. We'll know after this short break.
They didn't let me play because I always nuke them. You can ask Narcs. I nuked their team in rank before, their whole team. 1 week before this tournament, I nuked them.
All right, so you are the ace under the sleeve of NRW. Whenever things start to go down, they bring in Sakuta, and then it's all wins from there, right?
Yes.
Love to hear that, man. Love to hear that. Well, now I need you to be very honest with me. Who in your team blames the lag even when they just simply cannot hit their shot?
Zuko.
All right. I don't know if Zuko is going to be happy about that one, but thank you for the input. Back to a bit more serious question, though. Is there anything in your preparation that you do differently depending on the rotations and the opponents that you are facing? Like, do you prepare the same way to play against a newcomer team as you do to play against Animus, for example?
No, we don't prep at all. Like, we just play inners, have fun and ranked a little bit. We never really practice or scrimmed a lot before a tournament. We just have fun.
So you're in for the ride, wherever it takes you. Just enjoy the ride as much as possible, not taking things any seriously, right?
No, not serious.
Interesting approach indeed. Is there, however, a particular game mode or a particular map that you prefer to the rest? And also, is there a map where you have noticed maybe you struggle a little bit?
No, there's not a single map or mode we really struggle. We are good at every map, every mode.
So you are very confident going into this EACS. Glad to hear that. However, if the impossible were to happen and you encounter a setback, how does your team and you personally handle those setbacks?
We don't handle it all because we rarely lose. And if we lose, we don't really care.
That's one way to go about things. Well, I wish you best of luck, and hopefully you won't be encountering any setbacks in the ACS. That being said, though, before I let you go, the stage is yours, and you can say whatever you like to everybody watching right now.
Ich will nichts sagen, alles gut.
All right, that will do. That, ladies and gents, was Sakuta from NRW. Have fun watching the rest of the action for tonight in EACS. Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome back to yet another interview. As you can see on your screens, tonight I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Gatilla from Animus. Gatilla, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
Hello, guys. I'm fine, and you?
I'm doing fairly good as well. Well, Gatilla is not home, so I'll try to be as quick as possible in this interview. So I'll jump straight into the questions, Gatilla. Your team went up against Nrw International during the qualifiers of EACS, and it seems as if they were giving you guys a bit of a difficult time. You managed to qualify nevertheless.
Welcome back, everybody, here to EACS. Our best of 7 grand finals currently ongoing between Animus and Nrw International, and it could not be closer. We're all even Stevens once again off the break, this time at 2 for 2. I'm Infinity, this is Verdict, and we're having a hell of a time here in both hard points. Again, the second one maybe a little bit less close, but still have been pretty competitive. Of course, the control, that went NRW's way. That was competitive apart from the final round. I've really enjoyed this series.
I did not expect this whenever we were talking about, Animus and NRW earlier. This is completely out of my element. I made my predictions earlier. I said Animus were going to run the tables, and I didn't think we were going to get past map 5. I didn't say it that probably that brute force, but I said it a little more delicately. I still stand firm that Animus will take this series, but after watching that last map, I mean, that stands firm. We'll take a look at the maps that are ahead of us. As I mentioned, we've guaranteed ourselves at least 2 more of these. Love to see it go to that standoff hard point. Or is it a hard point or is that a search and destroy?
It's a search and destroy. It shouldn't say hard point, but you know.
I made your mistake earlier, didn't I?
It's sometimes you're in your head, you're like, hang on, whoa, 1 second. Because I've seen formats before, we finished on like control in a best of 7. I don't even know. I'm so glad that we're not doing that here. Yeah, that last map will be a search. Yeah, look at that prod. They're so proactive. They knew exactly what we wanted.
There we go.
Starting off search and destroy is, of course, where we're going to be finishing things. And I talked about it, right? The last time we saw this map set, it is worth saying, I do think these final 3 maps in this best of 5 do favor Animus. So we wanted to see Nrw International come out strong towards the opening half of the series. Feels like for the most part that is exactly what has happened. Now they've got to try and scrap one of these maps away from Animus to force a game number 7. That's, of course, if they don't win the next 2 and they win it in 6. And I will say, I think if they're going to do it at all, they're probably going to do it here. This was a 7-0 victory, or a 7-3 victory, excuse me, for Nrw International over Cantic. And looking back to it, the big reason for that was their phenomenal set nades. Nrw International are so good at breaking setups, nades over the top, and if they can unseat Animus on defense when we get to it, that will be big. But it is Animus starting things off on the defense. Let's see how they get on with penetrating the A site.
Standard approach here. Slow and steady wins the race for the attacking side. Animus looking to strike here quickly on towards this A objective. 2 players lurking on the site effectively. You got 2 in the middle of the map, 2 lurking too. So it's a little bit of a looser setup on the defense. Shark trying to get away with as much ground as he can go. Z pulls the shot. Hello. That's exactly why you don't stand up. That's a tough way to start it off for the boys in yellow.
That's super unfortunate. Stays out of the play here, and this is going to force a reposition out of Animus. Difference is, NRW International, generally speaking, have a player towards the back of the site, and that's not the case here. Sakata is pushed all the way up the HSO, and that might not be something that necessarily Animus expect.
As soon as we say that, Zuko does find himself realigned. Shark opening up with the first blood in retaliation to hit over towards the B side. It cannot be prolonged. Zuko follows it up with a good shot, followed up immediately by Sakuda. And what we were thinking Animus was free to go ahead and get this plant on through is absolutely wrong. NRW running the way with this one.
And Narc's now stuck between 4 different players, and I'm not too sure what direction you look. It doesn't really make a difference here. NRW International hold strong, and I really did think Sakata was going to be the thing to break the entire setup there for Animus on that offense. And yeah, they were part of it, but still it was the snipe towards the backline. Zuko to find one also caused some issues there for Animus. They could not get in towards the B site, despite the fact that they made the right call. They rotated. In the end, they just could not execute through the wall. Zuko,
oh my,
trying to show us something. Not going to hit any of those shots, though. None of it going to connect. And now Animus looking to make their way through the middle of that. Z has so much to do.
Yeah. Big call here. Middle of the map being absolutely wide open for the time being. Z peeks one wrong angle. He is going to get blasted. Say is right here trying to make something happen. Z now just going to go ahead and peek on through. Has anybody made their way in? He's just playing that middle front, maybe calling out what's going on. He doesn't want to get too involved here. As a big cushion here in the middle of the map. 3 players now trying to squeeze on through. Nobody checking this middle front. That's a lot of respect for Animus.
Animus have got a lot of space here. Nobody's watching that mid-cut, right? That's the big thing. Finally, Z will peek out here, and he will find one. This would not deter Animus from pushing forward. Z wasn't watching the cut, so Animus take that as the go signal to make their way over towards A, but Lighty sat in this corner ready to pounce.
Ooh, shots out. Gets tags on one. Can't collect. Sakuda going to be able to find Shark on the back lines. Nonetheless, trades are in. 3v3 now as the bomb's going down. In 40 seconds, going to be pushed up to 45 here is Nrw. Trying to make a little bit of a divide and conquer area. Low. Shot's not going to hit there from Narcs. And Zuko's just playing with his food for the time being.
Well, there's a player out this play for a really long time. Sawo finally getting involved here, but maybe too little too late. Narcs, can't do anything. Sakata doubles up, and that's going to be Nrw International 2-0 up in this search and destroy. And yeah, I feel like in that 3 versus 3, you have the information. You know where at least 2 of those players are. Sawo does not need to be magnetized to the flank as much as he is, because he is not in that play whatsoever. Effectively leaves Animus in a 2 versus 3 on that retake, and, well, Nrw, they overwhelm. They take that all day long. Animus needs something decisive here at the start of the search and destroy. They're starting to fall away.
Yeah, they are indeed. And Nrw just continued to gain confidence on that one. That was, I mean, even matchup, but it didn't feel like that. Says and Arch starting to start early here in this one as they piece 2 across. A, wide open. Question mark? No way, my friend. Lighty, not going to be able to get the second, though, unless as the trade's coming through, Z's going to be able to find one in return. Nonetheless, Bomb's still not playing at Nrw, trying to get it down now.
Well, they will do so. So now man advantage. You've got the rock down. You know where Zuko is. You surely know where Z is as well. Yep, that's the information they need now to work on these last 2 players. Z gets tagged up. Gonna have to back away. Zuko can't back towards his teammate. And now Z stuck. Nowhere to go. Get shut down. Nrw finally lose a round. And that's what Animus needed to do. They just need to cleanly get onto these sites.
And they do indeed. Very well executed, very aggressive. Those are the approaches we need to see out of them. Let's see if they can do it yet again. Everyone pulling out the lethals, trying to clear out anything they can. Look at that. It is just, I mean, they're lighting the skies up. Lighty trying to get in position, not trying to play passive as he has in many rounds before, but Nrw going to be able to quickly shut him down. And that's going to force Z all the way back damn near to the spawn. And just like that, it's a little bit of a stall here for Animus, but they've got the green light here on A, do they? No, they're going to go ahead and double back, and I feel like that's the right call.
Yeah, Animus, they've tried this before, right? I mean, you know, they get the first blood, so the situation's just a little bit different this time around, but they are still trying to make the exact same rotation. Despite the fact they have numbers, it's worth saying that they might not necessarily adapt in the same way they weren't able to back in round number 1. There, it was Sakata and Zuko that were nuisances. The latter of those 2 players down, so it is just going to have to be Sakata as Zuko falls out of the plate. And Sakata wraps back towards the middle of the map here. He might get some horrendous timing, but he could also get some great one here. He goes 1 versus 4.
Oh, Nrw shut down. Pistols out. Oh, he gets caught, but is going to get help. Kiri, the cavalry here. Narc's going to be able to find the machine pistol, but Z doing God's work. And all of a sudden, it's down to a 2v2. Animus, how have you fallen off of this one? Big play from Shark on the back line. Will he be able to make the read as both players on this site effectively?
You got the pinch on. 30 seconds on the clock. Time not on Nrw side. All this down to Z. Hugh is looking to back away. He's playing defense, by the way, so he doesn't need to play aggressive in the situation. Snaps on the ward Shark. 1 versus 1. But some warning shots out. Nox is just going to get this rock down, and that is absolutely the right play. He will get the plant, but where he goes, that's what's going to matter.
Oh, he wants to smoke. He knows exactly what's happening. Z says, take this, baby! Brings the boomstick. Woo! That boy's a dog.
Z with the 1 versus 2, and I was gonna say that round is solely down to Sakata playing their life past the opening blood that they got on the defense of that site, but you gotta give some love to Z as well for that 1 versus 2, albeit Animus probably could have played that slightly better in that situation. Z still able to pull off a 1 versus 2 like that. You just can't doubt the man has been sniping his ass off in this game. And now Animus on the offense, back to it once again. They feel like the best way to get on towards this round is to get on towards A. Is it going to happen?
Ego shell. Last round this time. Gunny's not hitting there for Kiri. He's going to be able to find one in Nrw, but it's Sawo's going to be able to get the trade. Player advantage in favor of Animus. They've struck in quickly here on towards this A site. This is a recipe for success. This is where they found their first round. Take down Z. You might win the round. Zuko on the back line. Can't hit the shots. Says and Shark, as soon as they hear him, just absolutely handle business, and it's all down to Sakuda. 30 seconds left to go. He's already been spotted out with a shotgun. I don't have very much hope.
I don't know. To be fair, the way that Sakuta's been playing this search and destroy so far, if anyone's going to do it, I mean, it's probably Z, to be honest, but if anyone else is going to do it, it might well be Sakuta, the way that he's been playing with that HSO, but this time only finds one. Second kill would have made it realistic, but will be denied. And Animus, I think the success that they found on these offensives so far have been whether or not they can get an iron grip over the site off the rip. Utility over the top this time. Not much of it going to connect into the trophy systems, defending them over towards A, but it is all a fake out. They send Utility towards A, but it is actually a B hit.
Here it comes. Two players there. Sakuta going to get the green light. Big shot there from Lighty. Does it miss? Almost gets the follow-up to go along with it. I don't know how that one missed. He had to line up perfectly. And just like that, it's a stall here for Animus. Say he's going to be able to find one in return. As he's got Nancy. Can't hit the shots. And Z, he has not very much missed many. Nrw there for the trades. Make it 2 and fold. And that leads us down to the last two standing on each side.
Again, same setup as Nrw International as before. One player on the flank here. Kiri could blow this play wide open. They're not ready for it. Kiri takes Narcs out of the play. And now you've got Nrw. You're left stuck dead between these two players. The bomb in an awkward spot as well. Where the hell do you go?
Gotta make something happen. 50 seconds left to go on the clock. Plenty of time to make the rep, and he does. Bad thing is, they know exactly where he dipped out. Now, which side of the barrel will you choose to be out on after that? It's up to him. Looks like he's going to go back through the spawn. Curie on the inside of that red objective. Bomb's right in front of him, so he knows what's going on. Kiru in a very difficult position. Curie going to get spotted from the back. Does not know what's going on. Lighty now in a 1v1.
Again, that bomb, big issue. 20 seconds on the clock. Keiru's going to get it, and I wonder whether the 20 seconds here is going to be enough that Keiru doesn't feel confident enough he can make the rotation over towards A. He certainly doesn't have the time anymore. He's only got one option. He has to go for it.
Yep. Oh, Lighty knows exactly what's happening. There we go. Free shot there for him as he hadn't moved an inch. That is well-disciplined play right there. Waited for the ample time to make the pounds, and just like that at the split, we are up 4-2. Nrw International playing these search and destroys so damn well throughout this series so far. Might be able to snag this map again.
That was just a really good play from Lighty. Recognized that there was only really one option on the board for Keiru. Plays around it to perfection. NRW search and destroy has been something to behold. Does bode well if this does have to go all the way to a game number 7. So he's going to start things well on this round, though. Now NRW, their response is to go fly straight towards the A site here. And Sakuta, he's feeling himself with the HSO. This rock is going down. Animus' only chance here. Maybe get some utility over the top. No, trophy system's there to catch it. They got to do it the old-fashioned way.
3v4 retake. 40 seconds on the clock. Got to make something happen. Mighty got the cover. Zuko gets aggressive. Takes down one. Z's dropped. 2v4. Or 2v3, rather. Still very doable here for Animus, but they've got to count their cards perfectly. Sawo waiting for the call. Here comes the hit from Shark. You've got to roll, buddy. There's only 20 seconds to go on the clock, and there's only 5 seconds, not even 5, to defuse, but you've got 3 players to deal with. This is just not happening.
Shark finds one. Sawo needs to connect these HSO, and he does. And now all of a sudden, the tables have turned. Lighty, all he needs to do, finds the first kill. No need to stop the defuse. He does exactly that. Lighty, lighten up the stage with the 1 versus 2. Just plays the clock to perfection. They had not cleared that area of the map out. They knew where he was, but finding that first on towards Sawo, that is the death knell for Animus.
That one, very tough. Very hard to read there, too, as well. Nonetheless, Animus fall victim yet again. That's, what is that, 3-4 rounds in a row here for NRT. They are starting to, or NRW, they're starting to like fill it. And I think we're starting to feel it too. This one could be coming to a close. Shark going to be able to avoid the nade. Nonetheless, half health. First blood's on through. Sawo's dropped. And, well, Animus, they haven't really shown much here in this search and destroy that of dominance. But see if they can reel it back in.
Oh, see. That's a big kill to bring this back to a 3 versus 3. Animus still looks somewhat shaken here. Despite the fact that they still, I mean, technically speaking, have control. They've got a couple of players in the same position here. They're fully committed towards an A defense, and that's not what's happening. NRW have made the rotation away. The call will now be made by way of Kiri, but Kiri might not be safe. It's worth saying. Narcs could still blow this play wide open. He has to pick up one of these snipes.
I think he just kind of checked and dipped. Or maybe in a reposition, maybe he spotted. I don't know if he completely locked eyes with anybody. Nades over the top. Narc's now trying to get aggressive. I think he does know what's going on. Oh, finds the first in Curie. Here comes the second in Sakuda, who's going to be forced back down. And nonetheless, the pinch approach might be coming through too. Look at Sace. He's on the back lines. And just like that, player number 5, Sakuda, going to be making the wrap all the way in the middle of the map. Does he go for the A site, or does he just clear out the objective? Or is he going to get the flush there on Narcs? This is a ballsy play.
Goodness gracious, this round more wraps than McDonald's, and Sakata's going to find the kill against Narcs.
Boy.
Now Sace, 1 versus 2. They don't know where he's coming from. Oh, not going to hit that shot. Sace, now the hit marker has to back away. 10 seconds on the clock. Sakata's going to get this bomb down. Saze now will be able to hit the reset here, but the information is crucial. Saze has to play this with the knowledge that NRW know exactly where he is. He cannot afford to be anything other than venomous.
Oh, man. Look at this setup, too. This is absolutely diabolical. One on the inside of Connector, and Sakuda just playing close quarter. There's nowhere you can get to him without being up close and personal. This one's locked in. Saze, if you pull this one off, I will drop dead right now. Here comes the hit. Sakuda already firing shots. Z collecting as well. Sakuda going to get the credit for the kill. I mean, there's nothing you could have done in that particular instance. We are on map point.
NRW International. Take a bow. This is incredible. Search and destroy. And I'll give Animus a lot of flack for their earlier search and destroy gameplay. There were so many holes. It was basically Swiss cheese. And this one, it does feel a lot more complete. NRW just outplaying them. Now and towards this round, they draw the first blood. They throw a unique look all the way through the middle of the map. Animus are not ready.
Narc's got to go big here. Okay, we're going to be able to find the wall bang. Narc's up top, going to be spotted. Oh, Sawo can't get the follow-up either. And it's all down to 2. Narc's down. Right back in the spawn. Say's going to be able to find Zuko. The bomb carrier Narc's going to be able to bake that one to perfection. Sakuda and Z, if there's going to be anybody that clutches this round, it's got to be them.
Oh my goodness me. How about that for a Kobe over the top? Beautiful nades to bring this down to a 2 versus 2. Says, oh, he whiffs it on the shot. That would have been a 2v1. That should have been an easy kill. Just EU snipes, eh? Animus now have to earn control of the B site once again, and they're going to take a lot of time to do so. That rock's going down, so that clock will be slashed down to 45 seconds. You have to reserve a handful for the defuse, and they have to hit this at the same time.
Look at positioning. Sakuda, oh, gets blasted. Z, now on the island, he's gotten spotted. Saze just needs to collect. He needs to execute. Waiting for the approach. Z, still in red. Saze. Oh, knocks on the bomb. Didn't matter. Diffuse, come through. Perfect read.
Yeah, Saze played that really well. Knew exactly where Z was holding him for long enough this time. And this is the crucial difference between that and Z's earlier 1 versus 2. Held him long enough that there wasn't time to stop the diffuse. Big play call coming out. And was that 2 versus 4?
2 versus 4. Yeah, 2 perfectly baked nades.
Yeah, those nades over the top were beautiful from Animus. Now they're going to be scared once again. Utility is going to go over the top to at least push Narcs to the right here, and he finds one. That is a perfect response, but you do lose site control. You have to take that trade for the man advantage.
Oh, big trade. Sakuda. Precise. Pristine. Sawo. Gonna force him back down. Bomb still not made its way over. Saze is going to be able to find one in the back row, but it's Z who has been absolutely astronomical for this matchup so far. Saw we're going to be able to find one as well in the trades. We're down to a 2v1. Z's the last hope. Can he cut this one out and take the 1v2 for grabs and shut this one out and take us to map number 6? Narcs is right on the bottom side. Sawo as well.
Oh, first shot good. Second shot good! Z pulls it off! And Z will send NRW up in this grand final. They are just 1 map away from being your champions.
Ooh, boy.
What was that?
I'm appalled. That is... Lock him up, man. He shouldn't... Arrest that man. Z, get out of here. How the hell? Just phenomenal gameplay. There's nothing you can, say about it. Clutch ability, clutch factor, aura through the roof, man. I'll get off of it once I, get into the next map chat, but damn. Z.
Brother.
I mean, how many clutches did that man have?
I don't even know. Two. It was at least 2 big 1 versus 2 clutches for Z's, and that's going to show up in the scoreline as well. A 16-5 finish for Z. Absolutely waltzes his way through that search and destroy on Tunisia. Oh boy, I don't even know what else to say here. Just phenomenal performance from him. I want to give a lot of love to Sakata as well, because there were so many positions that he holds there throughout that search and destroy. I think especially on the defense, right, that throw Animus off. You know, and he's not doing the same thing every single time, right? There were multiple occasions where he's like pushed very far up in towards the B site. Sometimes he's making sure the cut in towards A from mid is being watched as well. Like, that's the much more standard thing to do with an HSO player. And sometimes he's there. But I think, you know, Sakata in throwing those different looks at Animus is enough to throw them off their game. Wow, what beautiful play coming out from NRW International. Massive shout out to Z and to Sakata there for giving us a beautiful search and destroy. Their search and destroy has been honestly phenomenal. And again, we'll keep on saying it, right? What do you do now if you're Animus, right?
Yeah.
Because
how checked are you after that? I mean, because that was just, I mean, downright. Just, I mean, you watch it from Z's perspective, and he's like, he knows what's going on the whole time. Right. Narcs is holding his on. I don't know who the last player else besides Narcs was, but he tucks right into the to the connector, and Z just blasts him as soon as Narcs peaks. Just dead to rights. I mean, there's nothing. How checked are you going into this control?
Well, I think, you know, more to the point here, right? It's the fact that, you know, if you win this control, you go into a Game 7 search and destroy, and your search and destroys have been underbaked this series, right? Like, and again, I'll be clear. I think, you know, there were certain elements of that first search and destroy where it felt like, hey, the search and destroy left a lot to be desired from Animus, but I don't think they're playing horribly in search and destroy. I think NRW International are just playing a level above, and you are terrified if you're facing them down on a standoff search and destroy for a Game 7. Wouldn't that be lovely, chat, if we went to a Game 7? Well, before we get there, we have to go to a Takeoff control. This is one where I did say at the start of the series, actually, this is Animus' strongest control map. So I do feel pretty confident here that we are going to go to a Game 7.
Potential. We'll go ahead and get geared up for it. Could it be the last stand here for the boys over at Animus, or will this be their opportunity to strike back? We're about to find out now. You said it's their best map. We'll see how they stand strong here. Takeoff control coming up in a great series so far. 3-2 is the map now. Just missed out on all the action. You have to go back and rewatch it. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and hop into the action. NRW International could strike gold here and be crowned champions. They got to get through Animus, who have been strong on this map. Here comes the action.
Here we go. Animus on the start of this round. They want to have a strong defense. NRW International starting this one super aggressive here. Sakata for the middle of the map is going to get shut down. So Animus winning the first wave of gunfights here will be feeling pretty confident. They don't have much in the way of launch control. I hate that. Launch center control is what we'll go from now. They don't really have much control at this point in time. And I think because of that, right, they don't really have much control over the middle of the map.
Oh, look at Sawa. He's got pretty much control of the bottom side of it. Not able to get the kills there on it, but he's on a 2 combo with the gunny. 21v18. Sakuda going to be able to sniff him out, shuts him down. So no harm, no foul. Spawn control right back in their possession. And Curie translate to some hill time for the time being. Z on the back lines continuing to put in work. Curie does find a 3-piece along with that. That's a full white.
Now, second tick coming through on towards A. NRW International here on the defense. You kind of got to go pretty damn quickly. Or Animus, excuse me, on the defense. You've got to go pretty damn quickly. Lighty will find 3 kills. And that is exactly what you wanted. You got a 4-life advantage. You now have a lot of map control. And yet still... How is Say still alive? How is Say still alive? How... please. All right, Say's finally dead. That should be the 8-point.
Oh, Curie. Big gunfight. 6v11. This one getting escalated real quickly. 1:25 to go on the clock. Only one objective left to go. Slow and steady wins the race there in this first round. And surely enough, NRW throwing some shoulders. Z tucked in the corner. Oh, baby. Free kills? Oh, Eaton's is good, baby. That's 2 on the objective. They're down to 1 player. It don't matter. Shark is 1 shot. Lighty there to collect. NRW here to play ball, baby.
I don't know if I feel so confident anymore that Animus can force a Game 7. I was concerned about Animus in said Game 7. I feel like now maybe we should be concerned about them in Game 6. A round 1 offense. How about that for a rarity here in Call of Duty Mobile on Takeoff control? That is the start that Nrw International, and off the back of a venomous start, they're going to bring out the operators into round number 2. They want to put a statement, but the snipe from Says is going to shut the death machine down. That is a huge operator to take out the play, and now Animus are following up with kills of their own. They can hop on the point.
That was 4 down. Animus is striking quickly. Let's go ahead and dive in and see how those comms are sounding there from the French connection.
Nice.
Double stairs. Bottom construction.
Bottom construct, bottom construct, bottom construct à droite.
Double stairs, les gars.
Etienne, il a cross.
Double stairs et top yellow.
Ani yellow.
Spawn kill top yellow.
Top yellow, oui. Donc.
Etienne, hein. Conquest, bottom yellow.
Top yellow.
Bien joué.
Double stairs.
Doubles.
HM, 2 HM, les gars.
Bougez la cap.
C'est moi, Etienne.
Ah, mort Etienne.
Venez, j'ai le land.
Go cap, vas-y, allez-y.
Ticket, 2 tickets.
Mais non, 2 dans leur spawn. Ça va lounge.
Wesh. Go cap.
Bien, middle, bidon.
Mais non, mais sur B.
Top right.
I mean, they're getting completely cooked at this moment. You hear the comms there. They're a little less intense. They're a little more just accepting the inevitable. And the inevitable right now is there's a 1v12 going on. And Animus have just gotten picked apart in this control. What the hell is going on? Infinity, I need answers now.
I don't even know if I can provide them to you, mate. It does just feel like Animus again slapped around at this point. Nrw International are 1 control round away from being your EACS champions, and it feels like it's absolutely within their grasp. All they have to do is close their fingers.
Let's see if they can get a snap of them here in this one. Could be the last round. Animus going out in their shield. Let's see if they can provide a little bit of comprehension here on this defensive approach. Big kills coming through from Sakuda, who gets quickly traded on through. Focus towards this B site. There's 1 player effectively on it. Lighty just going to play his life as the rest of the players going to try and smash through P3. Lighty's going to be dealt with. The pressure here towards this A site now starting to be felt. Sawo going to be caught on the rotation. And yet again, it's a dead even draw here in the light, but the Tick's progress still coming through.
Animus are just not doing a good job right now at clearing out all the space from the map, and they're also not being venomous towards the potential spawn trap either. Kills now starting to come through for Nrw International here. They dealt with the 1 player that was being a nuisance towards them from the spawn. So the clock will stop at 44 seconds as they jump on the point. Death Machine now being invested by Lighty, but they don't even need it. Well, they will find kills regardless. Animus just do not look strong here whatsoever. They're now being shut out, and they're having to kind of retreat towards B already. Surely they haven't given up the point.
Last call. Kru. Operators out. Lighty. Dusted on the outskirts. Narc's going to be able to get involved as well. Sawo, that's a blue feed if they ever needed one. But Z, reeling it back in for the squad's going to be able to find a 2-piece. Shark going to be able to shut him down and tries to teep into the spawn, but is going to get shut down himself. 8v10 now the life count. A has been captured. Only 1 objective needed and or a TDM. It is their chance to shine. Nrw International might be able to upset this Animus roster here. Only 1 minute 30 left to go on the clock. Might not even be a factor.
Kiri from behind will find 1. Down to the final set of lives. Kiri might have just done it. Another kill for Kiri. Down to the final 2 for Animus. All down to Kru. And he is gone. Nrw International are your EACS champions.
Ooh, boy. Look, I'm just as shocked as anybody else. What was that? Congratulations, NRW. I'm not trying to take away from that. I mean, I would say I was anti-glad. I was just a beatdown. I was brutal. I was tired of watching it after I got into that 3rd round. I was like, I wanted to poke Animus and be like, bro, y'all are still alive? They're dead, man. It's just a very tough way to go about it. Hardpoint's completely theirs in the series, but nonetheless, we'll take a look at the last approach here. We said it earlier. Can't leave the lobbies, nonetheless. I mean, after that one, that was a brutal beatdown. 27-12, Z. Undisputable MVP of this series. I mean, NRW undisputed victors of this one, MVP of all the rights, but Z has been an absolute unit.
I mean, yeah, but we talk so much, right, as casters about looking for new talent and enjoying it every single time it comes through. And I'm sure for a lot of people in chat who are maybe well versed with this layer of the European Call of Duty mobile scene, that, you know, Z is not a new name. But I think for me personally, you know, I go into this and I talk about players like Kairu, like Sawo, who are absolute demons and are so good at the game. When they are getting outclassed by a man like Z, it does go to show that there is still talent yet to be discovered in Europe, and he is having a hell of a time. And I'll just say this as well. Z is also not one of those players that we were having really any conversation about for NRW International all season long. Like, a lot of the time that we were talking about NRW, we were pretty much always having the conversation, Lighty's the guy. Zuko's the one having their moments, right? And even, you know, towards the back half, sometimes we were saying Sakata's such a solid HSO player that, you know, we got to give them their props as well. But we were never talking about Z. And without a shadow of a doubt, he is undoubtedly the MVP of this grand final. He didn't single-handedly bring the team through that grand final, but I think he most definitely had made a massive mark.
I mean, when you're needed to put on in game modes where, you know, you needed to win, obviously they couldn't find a hardpoint victory. When you've got a guy like Z who's clutching 1v2s, 1v3s, or he's getting involved in 2v4s and winning and reeling rounds back, of course, you've got to be, you know, pinpointing a player like that. And even in the controls, well collected effort, but I'm still in shock that this one is over. I did not expect a 3-0 in a control. But I guess after that Tunisia, the answer to my question I asked earlier was they were completely checked, because there was just nothing that looked right out of the boys over at Animus. And obviously, you just saw they got outclassed, they got outplayed. There was just not a dog in their fight left. Seemed like they just kind of threw the flag up and just let NRW have their way.
Yeah, I will say, I don't think there was any particular map in the series where I felt like Animus were not playing like Animus up until that final one. Like, the Search and Destroy, there was no Venom, but they weren't playing badly, they were just getting outclassed. That last one, yeah, I feel like all the energy from Animus had been taken out. Well, that's going to do it. NRW International are your EACS champions. 16 teams entered, only one could be champion, and it is NRW International that came out on top. Before we close out, I want to give you the chance for any final thoughts. Europe has been a region that we've needed to see rise with new talent. NRW International stepping up to the plate.
Man, it's to see this scene grow the way it has and the direction it's gone. I could finally say Europe is back. I mean, we're so back, baby. We are so locked in. This is about as competitive as it's going to get. And I know there are a few teams that didn't even get a chance to register because of how quickly those spots were taken. Make sure you tune in for the next event. I want to say thank you for getting me involved. If this man didn't slide in my DMs, I wouldn't be here in this moment. So I appreciate the consideration. I appreciate the opportunity to work with such, I mean, just a great community of talent, you know, front end and back end. A huge shout out to the production team. These guys putting in massive work. And loved every single moment of it so that we can do our jobs properly. And a huge shout out to you too, man. You freaking killed it today. You came with your A game. It started, I mean, early, and it ended very well too. I think it was an overall great day.
Oh, man, you're so kind. You're making me blush on broadcast. You can't be doing that. I've not got any blusher on. Really appreciate you. And, of course, thank you so much for joining me on this grand finals. You know, one of the things I think that we wanted to do this season was bring in a lot of new talent, and we've done exactly that. So I want to give a shout out to every single person that joined us on the desk, and just to name everybody, right? Verdict, Major Chafin, Cal, Blood, Narski, Connie, Mark, Avo, and Josh Alex, I think, joined us for one broadcast at the start of the season as well. Like, everybody who has joined us on these broadcasts, a massive shout out to you guys. Obviously, in the back end as well, a shout out to all of our production here at Atlas and making this entire thing possible. That includes Xenology, Captain James Force, Garrett, Meg, and so many others. I think Jake as well joined us as a producer for the last couple of weeks of this season. Like, none of this would be possible without any of them. And, of course, to UECE, to everybody behind the scenes, which I do actually genuinely believe there is way too many people to name. But a special shout out to, I think, Chat and Reloom, who have been awesome to work with throughout this season and have been super helpful and are just an absolute force. And without them, I think Europe would be a lot worse off in Call of Duty Mobile. So shout out to Atlas, shout out to UECE, and most of all, shout out to you for watching and supporting European Call of Duty Mobile, because without you, none of this would matter. Make sure you guys continue to do so, because Europe needs the love. thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this season of EACS. We'll see you next time, whenever that may be.